when you get out there, don't be like saying, well, Matt didn't teach me how to, you do it the way they ask you, because you have to, like you said, you have to be adaptable.
Understanding how an insurance contract is written, hey, no, that's covered.
Yeah, and you committed to it.
And you committed to it.
It's a critical, core skill for adjusters.
Right.
You're watching Adjuster TV. Yeehaw!
The #1 resource for damage identification books, trainings, and certifications is Hague Education. Not only that, but they provide building inspection and desk adjuster trainings and certifications for those as well. Get a discount on all books, tools, certifications, and other trainings with code AdjusterTV at checkout at hagueeducation.com. Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that I teach. As we teach the claims process. So along with teaching the software. Separately, I'm an XCT, so I teach, level 1 and 2. And then, so that's where's the buttons, how do you find stuff in xactimate, how to use that tool. And then the rest of the training is how to use the tool in the context of the claims process from FNOL all the way to writing a check or putting your invoice in, right? So we teach the whole process, knowing that people are going to only do, mostly are going to do either desk or field, but they kind of need to know the whole process. And so we basically are training the whole process.
Right.
Both those roles get taught in together because the desk versus field is they just split the role in two, right? But I tell them, we have an estimating guidelines and we have, all this stuff that we have to support, like how I'm teaching the claims and showing how to set reserves and showing how to do an invoice using a kind of a generic thing. And I say, listen, this is just like the basics of how these things are done, right? This is, the things you're probably going to see on an invoice or the things you're probably going to see on a damage evaluation for a hail or wind, or it's so on and so forth.
Right.
When you get out there, don't be like saying, well, Matt didn't teach me how to, this is not how Matt does it.
Yep.
You do it the way they ask you, because you have, like you said, you have to be adaptable. And that's, that's a critical, core skill for adjusters.
Right. Another skill that is not focused on a lot is policy language. And so, policies vary from state to state, because even though you have an HO3, the HO3 written in one state may not be the same version as written in another. It'll have nuances.
Oh, yeah.
And so
of laws and case
law, you may have state statute that affect it.
Yeah.
There's huge variances in how that works. And so understanding how an insurance contract is written, what their conditions are, the things within the policy and the endorsements. Endorsements can give or take away coverage. And if you don't pay attention to them, you're out there writing all this stuff up, and lo and behold, hey, no, that's covered.
Yeah. And you committed to it.
Yeah. So, you have some errors and omissions components. If you're submitting that through, you look at, this was a $200,000 claim. Well, in reality, it may have been a $200,000 in damage that you wrote up. In reality, maybe only $5,000 of it's covered.
Right.
And so it can be a big problem.
Yeah.
And so not only do we have to focus on, we're adjusters. So adjusting and writing an estimate, understanding what an estimate is. An estimate is an estimation of what that damage is. Does it mean that's the exact penny?
Right.
No, but that's how we, in a litigious society, that's what we take it for. But it's an estimate. We try to get it as close to accurate as we possibly can. And the estimate has to abide by the coverages that were written by the carrier.
Yeah. It doesn't pay for everything, and there's rules.
Yeah, and there are rules.
Yeah.
And so we don't look, I understand empathy and things like that.
Yeah.
And so, we kind of hit on some things about making yourself a victim and over-empathizing and things like that. You can get into a situation where you're over-empathizing and you're committing fraud because you're sitting there inflating that claim when it, in reality, shouldn't occur.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem.
Yeah.
And so that can come back and you can end up costing you and the IA firm you work for, or even the carrier, a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
bueno. So let's talk a little bit about potential career paths. So we talked about, field is really, for all intents and purposes, to get started, independent adjusters, property adjusters are going to be looking at field or desk.
correct.
And it traditionally, they're really, for up until, the last few years, there really wasn't like a desk, so to speak. There was desk stuff that you could do, but but the most independent adjusters would go out and do.
It would be a field assignment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they would have the whole thing, and they may even write checks. And there's only a couple of companies that I could think of that still might do that. But,
right.
But a lot of people these days, especially after, the disease that shall not be named, kind of discovered that they like working from home, which I can't blame them.
Sure.
So a lot of people are drawn to desk. I've been told that it's incredibly competitive. I've been told that it's challenging to get into because they want you to have a little bit of field experience first. And so traditionally it was like, well, we want you to go do a CAT or two just so you've got some repetition, reps under your belt, and then you can kind of like pick and choose a little bit. So I'm just curious, like these days, especially since you run an IA firm,
right?
What the landscape looks like right now at the end of 2024.
So the landscape is kind of broadening. So desk is morphing into some other things. We talk about tools that are used. AI is one of the components with that. But there are other things that are done now to speed up the inspection and the closing of the claim file process. And so you look at, I won't try not to name names. But there are certain IA firms, large, will do what they call desk pools and desk adjust. They'll take the information they get from the field and convert it to an estimate. And then, they're getting a scope sheet from the field, and they convert that to an estimate and then settle that loss with the insured. Those programs are actually increasing. So you see more and more of that done. And the reason is because you can get more people to do lots of scope and go out and go scope a lot of things, right, and turn that file back in quickly, not having to wait for them to write it up. Go out and look at 15 a day, and then I might get 5 written up that night.
Scoping is the funnest and easiest part of the whole thing.
It is. Yeah. I can go take pictures and take measurements all day long.
All day.
Yeah. That's the easy part. And it's putting everything down on paper and getting the file done. So, but if I can get people to turn in their scope notes and give me good pictures and diagrams, then I can have a person in an office convert that to an estimate and write that stuff up all day long. And so you're seeing a lot more movement to have kind of a joint thing. The billing's different. The way they do that, they'll bill, kind of a two-part. You see the billing in the field is reduced because you're not doing but a half or a third of the work.
To learn what the future of claims adjusting is, click this next video.